my channel. God damn it, it's been a minute and a half. Yeah, wow, I haven't sat at my little desk here with this little setup in a couple of weeks. The last video I put up was a vlog, and the video that followed that was kind of an excerpt from that vlog, which is technically like cheating. And then last week was super busy with work, but it feels good. It feels good to be back. And hi, hello, how are you? I've missed you. And if you're here, if you're one of my returning subscribers, honestly, just fucking thank you guys. Thank you for showing up and for bearing with me and being patient, and yeah, just a wholehearted big hug welcome back to my channel. Today we are gonna do my favorite makeup look that I've been doing lately, and as per the title of this video, we are going to be doing a dive into my latest existential crisis brought to you by TikTok. So buckle up and let's get into this shit. I'm gonna pin the bangs back. Oh my gosh, there's so much I feel like I need to catch you guys up on. If you're following me on Instagram, you might be a little bit more up to date with the goings on of my life. Possibly the most recent thing being just less than an hour ago. I picked a watermelon most definitely too soon, and it was white on the inside, and I don't know if that's a too soon thing or just like a big genetic watermelon whoopsie. Don't know, but you know, fun things happening on a Friday. If you can tell, my face is a little blotchy. I was wearing makeup all day today. But naturally, as I do when I film any kind of makeup video, I wash my face and then film in the evenings. It's just gone past 5 o'clock. So, you know, this is actually early. We are early. We are catching the worm. I'm hyper. Can you tell? It's been a weird week. It's just a weird time in general in the world. When isn't it going to be weird? Possibly when I'm 90 and I'm just peacefully rocking in a chair in a cottage in the middle of the woods somewhere, but until then, we embrace the weird. Over the weekend, last weekend, I was in the city working all weekend, which is why I didn't film, and due to the nature of what I was doing, I had to wear a mask all weekend, and that was the longest period of time through this whole pandemic that I've had to wear a mask. And I can't remember if I've said this before, but like, to the people who have been wearing masks this whole goddamn time, like, you deserve medals, because that was absolute hell, and my face is still recovering. I've got some like major business happening on the side of my nose, and like that compounded with my period last week, or just this past week, was, you know, there's a lot going on, and I'm coming down from some rashes on my arms. I think they've mostly disappeared, but I'm still getting this like full body rash situation, but it's like, it gets worse on my face sometimes. Like if I do any kind of picking, all of a sudden I have like hives and giant bumps. So, you know, I washed my face and that created friction. So naturally I have some really fun stuff going on, which brings us to today's first product. Not this, I'm just hyper. And it's a new product. Yeah, we're in September now, so like bye to the no buy. I didn't do very well. I did better than I expected, but that's a topic for another day. But the product that I did pick up, which was all thanks to a sample size that I finally decided to open up and try. It is the Ritual Defy, which we know I love this brand. It is, what is this called? The Ethereal Veil, Conceal, and Cover. And this is the shade Naiad, which, if you know me, if you've been following along here, that's a name your girl can appreciate. You know, it's just so whimsical, and it's like a really nice color. It's a very dense, creamy formula. Like, you can't even really pick up that color against my skin. It's a really good match for where I am right now. And surprisingly, this is the first time that I've ever tried this product from Ritual Defeat. I've really leaned into their color products since discovering them in like 2015. But this was the first time that I decided to give the concealer a try, and y'all, I love it. I started off using just from a sample size. The last time I made a purchase from Ritual Defeat, like directly from their website, I purchased the kind of like, they give you like 3 packs for the complexion sample, I guess, so that you can actually do like a proper color correct. This is not gonna cover perfectly because there's some broken skin there. I really shouldn't be dipping my finger back in there, but I'm not a makeup artist, and this is just going onto my face, no one else's. But I've been really enjoying this. The only thing I noticed was that the difference between this product, like the full size and the sample, was that the full size seems to pull a little bit more gray than the sample size. The sample size was like the absolute perfect match, and I don't know if the color maybe just oxidized because I had it for a while and it wasn't freshly opened. Who knows, but I'm really, really, really enjoying this product a lot. Like, it quickly and surprisingly kind of rose to the top for me in terms of complexion products and concealers, and that's really all that I use. I've not really been pulling the foundations out over the past couple of weeks, like the end of the summer. So this really kind of stepped up to the plate and took first place. And I really like it. It does a pretty good job. It's a very stiff formula, so you do really have to kind of work your finger in there and warm it up with your body heat, but very impressed. Thank you, Ritual Defeat, for bringing us the good stuff. I know we still have to have a conversation about this black plastic, but I have a TerraCycle box now, so like sort of problem solved. Not really. Next, I'm gonna jump into my eyebrows and just kind of get them all spiked up the way that I like. You know, we're just doing the same old here with the Got to Be Glued gel. I'm using a lot of this. It's finally starting to feel kind of empty, which is cool. Isn't it always so cool and fun? Cool, is it really cool? No. But it's fun to like finish products. That's just, you know, we've talked about this. It feels like an accomplishment. On the topic of this product though, I saw, based on some of the people who I follow and, you know, watch avidly on YouTube, that Got to Be, I guess, picked up on the fact that people were using this for their eyebrows and is coming out with an eyebrow gel. And y'all, don't fall for that. That is, give them props. That's genius. But are they, it's a tiny, teeny, tiny bottle, like kind of, we're talking probably this size. How much are they going to charge you for it? I don't know what the price point is, but like, please just do this. This is a perfect solution. This is so inexpensive. Do not fall for their exact same product, which they're just now going to market to you as an eyebrow gel. Don't. I'm sure there is absolutely no difference. They're just going to charge you more money for a teeny tiny amount of product. Don't do it. Just get yourself some spoolies, washable or otherwise, whatever, you know, is accessible to you and floats your boat, and just do this. Simple, easy peasy. So, you know, given that we're still very much in panini land, you would think that I would have scaled back on the makeup, and like this week, sure, certainly I did. I was kind of a zombie this week, but I've actually been, outside of this week, been playing a lot with makeup. I've been having a lot of fun playing, because what else is there to do? And I've been watching a lot of Hannah Louise Poston, and she has gotten me fully hooked on the like kind of grungy, glittery eye. That we're going to address on another day. Today is more specifically about, you shouldn't be surprised here, more purple. I have been doing this a lot. like I said. And it is making me so incredibly happy. The base of this look is this satin matte eyeshadow from Alanna Pure in the color Thistle. And it's this teeny tiny little component. The top pops off here like this. And then you just like, I don't know how you're supposed to use this, but I just kind of tap it into the lid and then go from there. And it looks very blue in the viewfinder here, but I would really classify this as a periwinkle. And it is making me so happy. I have been using this so much. I don't know how much you can actually tell, but I got new colored contacts, and technically they're amethyst, but because I have such naturally dark brown eyes, it's not gonna, obviously, they're not gonna look the same as they would if I had, you know, very pale blue or like gray eyes. But if you do look closely, I'm not gonna zoom in, but I don't know, take a look into my eyes. This Thistle color, this lovely little kind of dusty periwinkle, just looks great. And I just dunked my finger in there, come on. And I really, really love it. And these are very pigmented. I always, you know, struggle with loose products, as I'm sure many of us do. However, I do really like the formula, and it's very nicely buildable. So I'm just going in with kind of a pencil brush here. Don't mind it, it's very dirty. I really need to clean my makeup brushes. And as I usually do, I'm gonna start on my bottom lash line. And am I doing things out of order? Yes, always. Like I said, I'm hyper. It's my first day back doing a makeup video, and so you're just gonna have to bear with me. So as I start to put this on my eyes, I'm gonna start talking to you about my current existential crisis, because when isn't there one of those happening in my life? You know? It's just par for the course these days. Anyways, a few weeks ago, when exactly, I'm not sure, maybe I'll put it up on the screen, I finally succumbed to the universal pressure and joined TikTok. And not even just joined TikTok, I went onto TikTok for the first time. Up until this point a few weeks ago, I hadn't even downloaded the app. The only TikTok content that I was consuming was all of that which was being kind of repurposed and recirculated through Instagram. That was it. I wasn't going beyond that. And for the longest time, like, I held out and I held out and I held out. And like, I'm in the social media space, so like, you know, TikTok has been on the radar since its inception. And when I say I'm in the social media space, I mean professionally. Like, I have to keep my finger on the pulse of all things social because of part of my job. And from the moment it started to really, you know, kick off and gain popularity, I was like, hell no. First of all, it seemed to have a very, very young demographic at first. And like, obviously it still very much does. It's very much a Gen Z predominant platform, I would say, which is fine. I mean, look at how our primary social media platforms kicked off. Like, it was all in the young generations, like, you know, sort of very late Gen X, but like predominantly millennials. And so anyone older than us would have the exact same attitude towards Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, specifically Instagram. Like, you know, all of our aunts and uncles are having a good time on Facebook still, which is fine. But I just felt like when TikTok really kind of rose and, you know, to the height of its fame, if we're even at the height of its fame yet, I was just like, I'm too old. It's like Snapchat. I don't want to be on Snapchat. Abso-fucking-lutely not. I'm not a 13-year-old girl. No, you cannot snap me. So I held out and I held out and I held out and I resisted and I resisted and I resisted. And then finally I caved. And I don't know, I cannot tell you what the turning point was that finally made me go, maybe I need to be on that platform. Maybe I need to get my creative on there, which I have, by the way, and it's absolutely hilarious. And like, don't even, just, it's shake my head, you know? We're not doing anything special over there, folks. So like, if you don't follow me there, it's okay. It's really okay. I think Instagram is just fine for me, and Twitter, and you know, but I wanted to have some kind of presence on TikTok, and you know, the more that I talked to people who were starting to flock to that platform, the more I was like, okay, maybe it's time. Maybe it's finally time. So it was finally time, and I set up my username, and I think I put out a video. And something that I had heard from some peers about TikTok was, listen, the TikTok algorithm is unlike anything you've ever interacted with. It will know you more than you think you know yourself. Instantly. And this was a common theme in discussions I was having about TikTok. And I was like, okay, like I understand that algorithms are very advanced now. Like we're at that kind of part in, you know, technological history. Every single device is listening to us. Every time we interact with anything online, it is being logged, and you know, algorithms are being trained, and we are constantly being sold to, etc., etc., etc. I get it. I understand the nature of algorithms. What I was not prepared for was to have the mirror held up so close to my face with absolutely no mask, and just being told, hi, we see you, we know you. Like, we really, really, really know you. Let me explain. First of all, back up a little bit. Isn't this a pretty color? I'm tired and I'm hyper, so like my eyes could be a little less like cloudy and, you know, a little sharper and white and etc. The whites could be a little brighter, but I really, as a little pop of color, man, this Alima Pure Thistle, it's so good. I'm gonna go in and darken it with, just along the edges, with my Marcel eyeliner pencil in Black Plum. Yo, work, there we go. Which is a favorite, obviously, it's getting small. We know that I love my Marcel liners, but the color, the shade here of this little eyeshadow, which I haven't really put all over my eyelids because I'm not brave enough, as a smoky kind of little eyeliner thing, I'm super into it. Okay, back to TikTok. And I'm gonna try to talk and walk at the same time. Yeah, I was absolutely, utterly blown away by the accuracy and the audacity of this algorithm to just show up and be like, literally, you cannot run, you cannot hide, we know you. Which I find extremely interesting, maybe from like an anthropological perspective, also obviously a technological perspective. Like, where does the TikTok data come from? Like, how do you know us so well? I will have to verify this, but I'm pretty sure that I set up a brand new account. Because if I had tied it into a pre-existing account, then like, duh, of course there's a data share happening. But starting a brand new account, like obviously I'm on the internet, like I'm not playing hide and seek or anything online. I'm pretty open, as we've seen, you know, from my YouTube channel. But I was genuinely shocked. And a few things I wasn't shocked about at all. You know, instantly from the jump, I was put on Book Talk. Duh, no surprise. Some people have to like literally hunt around on TikTok to like finally land on Book Talk. No, I didn't. I was there from the top. I was on Witch Talk from the beginning. Bless. Thank you so much for knowing me. What else was I on? Pretty much instantly, I got on to like the cosplay TikTokers. Very cool. Love that. I was on like, you know, fairy magical land talk. I was on all of the like TikTok spaces that I was completely anticipating, and was glad that I didn't have to go seeking out, because I feel like that would have been super frustrating. But instantly, that was the content that I was being served. It was like everything that checked out, except 2 realms of TikTok that I was being exposed to and content from which I was being fed that was not a surprise subconsciously. Consciously, certainly it came as a bit of a, huh. Because, and not that I was necessarily hiding anything from myself, it was more just that I hadn't even vocalized it yet. I was still, there was a couple things going on inside of my brain after like years and years, and especially the last year, like a lot of deep self-reflection. Can't talk. And I hadn't really vocalized a lot of this yet. And if I'm gonna start to process anything, like I talk to my mom, but the other place is my journal, and I hadn't even really started journaling about these things yet. So I'm gonna pull my hair up into another clip. Isn't that pretty? I'm gonna do some more on the eyes, but I wanna get my bronzer out of the way. Yeah, I hadn't even processed some of this stuff in my journal. Like I hadn't written about it. So this is why it was, I think, even more surprising. And like my journal is a paper journal. Like unless someone is sneaking into my house at night and like scanning it into the cloud, you know, that's private information, and there's nothing shocking there either. But yeah, I was genuinely like, okay, when you're on TikTok, there is no hiding from yourself. There is no, you have to confront every aspect of your identity, go through the crisis, and then come out the other side as like a more self-actualized individual. Is this the whole goal of TikTok aside from entertainment? Because genuinely, one of the other reasons why I was so reticent about joining TikTok and being in that space is like, I don't want to watch Gen Z dancing all over the place. You know, first of all, the audacity of Gen Z to be so outrageously attractive is just like, please stop, because y'all did not have to go through that horrible, ugly phase that the rest of us did. And that is just truly offensive and like, it's just pure blasphemy at this point. Second of all, I am embarrassed by watching these dance videos because it's silly, and that's not the kind of content I want to consume. Anyways, back to the topic at hand, which is all about me, obviously. All about Eve. So the other two TikTok spaces that, you know, kind of were the reason for my shock and awe. Number one was I got immediately dumped onto neurodivergent TikTok, which was super cool and like super exciting. And like, yo, give me all of the mentally ill folk and like neurodiverse folk. Give me all of the anxious TikTokers, please. I relate so much. Like, if anything, that's where I thought I was gonna go, was like mentally ill TikTok, anxious TikTok, depression TikTok. But I got stuck onto, or dumped onto, neurodivergent TikTok. And all of a sudden, this was something that I had been kind of, you know, having inner dialogues about, the idea of, you know, neurodivergence and what that means and what that feels like and what that looks like, and doing some research. And I just want to, before I continue, I want to preface this by saying that I am not self-diagnosing and I am not self-identifying with any hard and fast labels here in any way, shape, or form in what I'm about to talk to. These are exploratory conversations, and I'm approaching them in that way, as just mind expansion and self-identity and self-awareness expansion opportunities. So when you're on neurodivergent TikTok, or at least the side of that realm that I'm currently in, it's a lot of like autism and like ADHD, which is again super cool. And they're all like, there's some amazing creators, and like obviously when you're in these spaces, you have to be very digitally literate, and because there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation circulating, as there is literally anywhere on the internet. But all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I identify with all of this so much. And again, I'm not self-diagnosing. I'm not saying that I have ADHD. I'm not saying that I have autism. But if there is a label or a term that for the first time in my life I feel incredibly associated with, in line with, something that resonates with me and my entire life experience up until that point, it is 100% neurodivergent. And again, this was something that I had been having internal dialogues about for a couple months prior to my entrance into TikTok society. So it was just, and I maybe had one out loud conversation with my mom about that. So it was very surprising to be kind of put there from the jump. Like, all of my other friends predominantly are on like cute animal TikTok and like, I don't know, dance TikTok. And I don't know. Anytime someone has shared content with me from TikTok, it's not what I have been exposed to in the last couple of weeks, even remotely. There hasn't been any crossover. Like, you really do get put into different universes. It's very interesting. So I was surprised, but I was also like relieved. I was like, oh my gosh, have I found my people? There's people whose brains actually work the way that I do. There's people whose minds race at the speed that mine does. There's people who have anxiety because of the same kinds of things that I do. And I'm sure my therapist would be like, this is why you need to find community. And like, okay, yeah, but also I'm like incredibly introverted, and I have a really hard time seeking out social environments. And then if I do find a social environment, I have a really hard time being in those social environments for an extended period of time because I just want to go away. I just want to go home. So to find that kind of community and to find that kind of association and to identify with a group of people. And again, this is with the caveat that there's a lot of disinformation and there's a lot of misinformation and there is no formal diagnosis going on here. There's all of a sudden a virtual community that I have found recognition and myself in. And that's really incredible because honestly, it's one of the first times in my life that I have ever felt like there's other people like me. And I think I do a very reasonable job of like integrating and, you know, just pretending to be, I don't know, do you call that masking? Again, I'm not trying to like do any kind of real diagnosis here or use terms that I may be using incorrectly. It's just an expression of excitement and thrill and again, awe at finding a space on the internet, on TikTok of all unexpected places where for the first time in my life, I'm like, oh my, I'm not entirely alone in this universe. And like, that's really exciting. And I think this kind of, in a way, ties into my earlier conversation, like what feels like eons ago about like fear of the aging woman and this whole idea of aging in general and how so many people have the gall to tell you that like your teenage years and your 20s are like the best time of your life. And it's like, your brain isn't even fully formed until you're like, what, 25? Your brain is still growing. You're still an incomplete, like physiological human being up until that point. Like, how are those the best times of your life? I don't think I had any freaking clue who I was. I was just a lost, chaotic, wandering little creature trying to establish some footing in a very uncertain environment and constantly just seeking love and affection and understanding and never really receiving that. And it hasn't really been until the last like maybe 2.5 years that I've felt so grounded and secure in the kind of person and who that I am and like who I am and what I want. And I'm in my 30s and I think, you know, we need to give humans and our peers and everyone in our lives who we love and everyone who we don't know and haven't met yet just a lot more grace about like what being a human is and is supposed to be and is supposed to feel like, and really break out of the box that's supposed to be normal. You know, like why do we seek to live our lives with such strong and hard and fast definitions that we didn't create for ourselves, these are all ideas that we were indoctrinated into by a society that doesn't actually fit your body and your soul. Personally speaking, I can't obviously speak for any of you guys, but am I even making sense? I'm just rambling at this point. But it's just truly incredible to live your life and get to your 30s and feel so fearful of aging and feel like your life is over at 30 because of everything that you've been taught and everything that has been drilled into your mind from the time that you were a young child, especially if you're a woman. And then to get to your 30s and be like, y'all, I feel like the best version of myself. My teenage years were absolute angsty hell. My early 20s, I had no idea what was happening and going on. And again, I was just, personally speaking, I was just so desperate to be loved and to find love and acceptance. And that created so many inadvertent barriers to my own personal self, but also to the way that I was experiencing life. And now I just feel like, especially after, you know, kind of reaching this little segment of the internet, I feel like the last couple of years, everything just feels so blown open and literally the world is my oyster. And I want everyone to feel that way. Like, how dare the world try to trap us in teeny tiny boxes and just really rob us of the authenticity of human evolution and for personal evolution and growth. And like, no more boxes. No more. We're allowed to grow and change and learn new things about ourselves. And again, especially if you're a woman, things like being neurodivergent, I don't think are identified unless you have very obvious symptoms or like presentations in your behavior. But I think also when you're like maybe the generations now that are being brought up aren't experiencing the same kind of thing, but certainly when I was still a kid, like there was a very hard and fast idea of what it meant to be a woman, and as you had to be a good little girl. And you know, the first 5 years of my life, my school life, I was put into a Catholic school. So, you know, there's rules about how you are supposed to be a good little girl and how you're supposed to behave and how you're supposed to think. And even though it was only 5 years and then I got moved to public school, like that kind of schooling and being raised in those kinds of environments set up certain foundations in your mind. And I'm not necessarily talking about like very strictly religious foundations, but you do learn how to be a very specific way, and like deviating from that is frowned upon. And when you are a young little child like me who just wants to be loved and accepted, you often choose the path that for you is by no means the least resistance, but you want to be loved. So you push against your baser instincts and you push against your nature because you want to try to fit in. And now that I'm almost 32, I'm like, no, I don't want to fit in. I'm 32 and I finally want to admit to the whole world that I want to start doing cosplay and that my brain doesn't work the way that, you know, everyone else's does, or like the status quo brain is supposed to work. And that's awesome. And you know what? I'm smart. I am brilliant. I'm funny. I'm weird. I don't want to be normal. I love the way that my brain works. Am I super anxious all of the time because I have a brain that doesn't ever shut off and, you know, just sometimes feels like it's growing at a speed that I can't contain? Absolutely. Do I constantly feel like I'm, you know, a miniature atlas walking around with not just the world, but the entire universe on my shoulders? Absolutely. But also I wouldn't change that for anything. We're like 40 minutes in and I'm not even at the other part yet. Okay, I'm gonna put some blush on, and I finally gave myself permission to open this. This is the Tower 28 Beach Please blush in Power Hour, and I got this last year. It was snow. There was snow on the ground, so like this was last year when the new colors came out. But I was holding off for so long because I was like, Alanna, you have enough blushes. And then I finally gave myself permission to open it just in time for fall, and it is an absolute beautiful color. Love it. So we're gonna put that all over my cheeks. Okay, the next side of TikTok that I got put onto, and I don't think that this is a unique experience by any means, this next one. I know lots of people that get, put onto this side of TikTok. What is interesting for me is the reaction. Oh, good, Clown Town, Clown Cheek. Okay, we're gonna have to blend that out a little bit. There's a lot of blush, Alanna. I got put onto Queer Talk. Which is a great place to be on TikTok. Y'all, queer folk are amazing. Love them so much. There's so much life and energy and authenticity, specifically on Queer Talk. And like, I've had exposure to lots of queer folk in my life. I can't specifically speak to anyone who may be transgender because I've not had anyone come out to me as transgender before, but I've had a lot of, male gay friends come through my life. I've had, there's gay couples, male gay couples in my family. What I haven't had a lot of exposure to is like lesbian couples. I think when I was in high school, there was one girl who was, I think, like openly a lesbian, but it was the exposure that I've had in my personal life to, the 2S LGBTQ plus community was always very much like men, like gay men, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I don't know, maybe more out in the open. I'm not sure. But definitely, like, even when I was in high school, if there was even a suggestion that you were like a lesbian, it gets so sexualized. Like, because straight cis men are just fucking perverts, man. And maybe that's why there wasn't as many girls who had come out when I was in high school or even really in university, but I think maybe it had something to do with the like hypersexualization of girl on girl action. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, but that's not really the point. I'm just telling you that up until this point, my experience personally with queer folk and anyone who belongs to the 2S LGBTQ plus community has been somewhat minimal. And not intentionally, I just, small town, I don't know, the people that you attract, the people who you don't attract, because I'm an introvert and don't associate with many individuals to begin with. I don't know. So yes, I get put onto Queer Talk. Cool, having a great time. But then all of a sudden, TikTok starts serving me content by masked lesbians. And I'm like, my eyes are literally going to start watering just thinking about it. I was like, oh my God. I think they call this, what I'm experiencing right now, like literally my eyes are watering. I'm sweating. The sweat is starting to bloom in my armpits. I think they call this queer panic. Y'all, these human beings are so outrageously hot. I cannot even, and it has sent me into more than the neurodivergent thing, into an absolute identity crisis. Let's talk about that. Up until this point, I have only ever dated men. I have only had sexual experiences with men. I have not even thought about dating women. I've always thought that women were beautiful, but never in a sexual way. And in fact, I've expressed multiple times that I wish I was, because it would open my dating pool, because don't come at me, but men are trash, and dating right now is absolute trash. And would I love to have a partner at some point, someday? Certainly. Quick pause. We're going to move on to mascara. Just kidding. We're not. We're going to put something else on my eyes. Another Ritual Defeat product. And I'm running out of time here just because no one wants to watch another hour-long video and we're like encroaching on 45 minutes. This stunning product is the Ritual de Fille Rare Light Luminizer in Luminaris. Not even remotely new. It's probably way beyond its expiration date. I've had it for years, and just because it's so pretty and it has this like purple blue tint, which like, hi, why is anyone surprised? Purple's my jam. But I put it on my eyes one day after doing this eyeliner and was like, yo, that's real pretty. So in my hyperness, we're gonna make a complete mess of this, but that's what I've been doing, is just putting it on my eyelid, and pretty. It's so pretty. Okay, so what was I saying? I'm gonna move on to mascara next, and then I will be able to focus. I finished my, ooh, the lights are so hot and you can't really see that. Can you see it from back here? We're back to the Ilia Limitless Lash, and I'm, for the first time ever, using it in the new package. Love it. I finished my other mascara completely to the very, very end. So welcome back, Ilia. It's lovely to have you. I saw that they released a new one, so we might have to try that when this one's near its end as well. Okay, so yeah, I had often expressed my wish. Be careful what you wish for, I guess. I wish that I had an attraction to women so that my options for dating, you know, I was just looking at a bigger pool because I was just having a hard time with men, feeling very frustrated with the selection. Like, I just went back on Hinge as an addition to this conversation because it was like, maybe I'm ready to like date again and I'm not gonna go into a complete anxiety spiral and have a panic attack. TBD on that. But like, are men only interested in like traveling the world and golfing? Is that really what I have to choose from? Like, everyone is either super creepy or like super bro-ish. And it's just, it's extremely frustrating. I just want to find a really good man or a good person at this point, because who the fuck knows? Let's jump back to TikTok. So all of a sudden I'm getting fed content by all of these really incredibly hot masked lesbians who are making me tingle in all kinds of places I only thought I would ever be made to tingle by men. And it just made me question absolutely everything. I was like, okay, well, you know, it's a spectrum, so that's cool. Totally open to it, but never even thought I could belong to this community or could even explore this. I thought that I was just, you know, so straight down the straight train. Like, painfully so. And that's a term that I would use often, is that I'm like painfully straight. And now I don't know. Now I don't know. Because of TikTok. And y'all, has anyone else had this experience? I don't think I've ever had this experience in person. I mean, and obviously I have no experience with women in that respect at all. But I mean, like, even if I was out at like a bar or something, which is a very rare occurrence for me to begin with, but I don't think I've ever like come across another woman at a bar or out anywhere where I was like, oh, you know, you get that little like tingle of attraction and excitement. It happens all the time with me with dudes, but like, what does it mean? What is this? So that's where things are at. And I was like, you know what? With all this other awesome self-actualization stuff happening and all of this like feeling so grounded, why not? Why not start to explore the possibility that I could have a much wider option, a larger option for dating? Why not? What do I have to lose? What is the harm in exploring other options? Love is love, baby. So when I signed up for Hinge again in the last couple days, and like, I'm not doing Tinder. I just can't stomach that app, and like Bumble sucks. So I'm going just, you know, simplifying it and just going on Hinge. I opened up the option to everybody, which has sent me into a complete panic because like I can't even talk to men. There's like a hi, there's a you both like connect or whatever, you swipe or like, or you match, whatever. And then nobody strikes up a conversation and it's just super awkward. Or someone does strike up a conversation and like you instantly get the vibe that like, nah, this person's not for me, or you do like them, and it's just a lot of heavy lifting. There's a lot of work involved with online dating. But then, you know, now I'm being served women, which is fine, but like, you know, what do they call people like me? I don't even know if like baby gay is the right thing, because again, I'm not going to identify as anything yet. We're very much in a questioning, exploratory phase of life. And like hip hip hooray for that. Everyone should constantly be exploring every side of themselves and identity, and go for it, you know? Let's evolve and grow and blah blah. But me as this questioning human, this human question mark, I too now have the audacity to have a type. So there has not been anyone who has like matched my like TikTok standard of the kind of queer woman I would like to potentially interact with if I am brave enough. No, because I don't want to date me. I don't want to date me. No, I am for someone else to date. If I wanted to date me, I would just stay single forever, which is something that I very well may do, but did I say that right? Whatever, you understand what I mean. Maybe I'll stay single forever, and in which case that will basically just be dating me. But like, I don't want to date me. I don't want to date someone who is, you know, as, I don't, fucking neurotic as I am, who is as feminine as I am. I need someone whose feet, regardless of their gender, are firmly planted on the ground, because I'm, as a Piscean first, am like so up in the clouds. I need a grounding force in my life. And quite frankly, I think I do need a heavy dose of like masculine energy in my life. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to come from a cisgender male. It just, I need somebody to come along and balance me, you know? So yeah, me being a human question mark, have the audacity to go onto a dating app and be like, I have a type, so no, not interested. But also I do that with men too. Like, I have very high standards, and I'm at a point in my life where I'm not willing to lower those standards for anybody for any reason. So cheers. Wish me luck. There's that little nugget of interestingness happening in my life. What do y'all think? And like, for the record, this is not me like coming out. This is me just coming out with a fucking big question. Like, who am I? Who are you? You know, the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. That is just what my brain is saying to me every time I dare pass a mirror or just have a moment of quiet with myself. Who are you? Who am I? Are you queer? I like that, because am I odd? Absolutely. So yeah, that's been my life. Lots of questions, lots of existential pondering over here. Am I brushing my bangs with a spoolie? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. My ears red and pink because I'm just so hyper and nervous about having this conversation, but here it is. Laid bare. The moment of questioning, who am I? And it's going to be a journey, I'm sure. We will find out. And I'm sure there will be many more moments of panic. Queer and otherwise. All that being said, this is the makeup look that I've been doing lately and loving. And it's purple and it's a little subtle if you're far away and then you hit a light and you're like, ooh, cool. Or you get into some light and it's like, ooh, that's a subtle little purple. And sometimes I put on the Rare Light Luminizer, sometimes I don't. It really depends on my mood. But I like it. I'm loving the purple moment. I'm loving the amethyst contacts. At some point in October, I can't remember what date, I have a hair appointment and I think we're gonna go red. Like fiery red. So we're just exploring all new things. And in other news, I might also be getting a sword. Fun stuff! Wow, aren't you so happy that you're here for this journey with me? I know I am. I missed you guys. I missed doing this. So yeah, what did we learn today? One, my bangs still aren't cooperating. Two, I am never going to be normal. And now officially, affirmatively, don't ever want to be. Three, y'all, bring on all of the neurodivergent kids, like welcome home, baby. And four, we're exploring new avenues of romantic life and sexual identity. To be continued. Okay guys, I think that is everything from me. If you stuck it out through this whole chaotic video, honestly, bless you. We are all just stardust, and sometimes it's nice to put those stardust pieces together and make galaxies. I swear to God, I have not been drinking. Anyways, thank you. Thank you. If you're here, if you're still watching, you guys are the best. I love you. I'm so happy to be back. We're gonna get back into a consistent schedule again, once weekly. A gaming video is coming soon. If you're here for that and you've been missing it, I promise there is something coming soon. And yeah, otherwise, if you liked any part of this video, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you're new to this channel and this is your first time hanging out with me, hi, my name is Alanna. Should have said that at the beginning. We would love to have you. I would love to have you as part of the LAN fam. So, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And without further ado, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go take this face of makeup and unruly bangs and go for a bike ride